I want them dead presidents. I wanna pull up, head spin, get it, get fly. I got 6 jobs, I don't get tired. I don't get tired.
All right, guys, so another back day. I'm gonna run over things a little bit quick, or really quick if I could speak. Getting blood work done Friday, 2 days. I wanna make sure it's on a non-training day. Some people have the school of thought, I talk with my hands a lot if you can't tell, that they should stop training a couple days going in because it can elevate enzymes and things like that, but that's just not me. If they're elevated, they're gonna be elevated just from protein intake, so I don't care. I'm still gonna train hard right till the day before. Then I have my labs on a day where I don't train because I don't wanna donate or get blood taken. I actually just had a donation yesterday and they stuck a harpoon in me, and I'm sure they were a little confused as I was like, geez, what size gauge is that needle? They were probably like, how do you know so much about that? And I was like, oh yeah. I walked in and the lady was like, oh, well, you clearly don't have a problem with needles. And I was like, oh no, this is actually just crayon. So talked with Ariel, we're gonna do a quick breakdown of my split. We kind of adjusted it to just a week by week split as opposed to a rotating split, just for ease on him instead of checking in randomly throughout. Because basically I was gonna be checking in every 8 days, which also meant I was gonna have a cheat meal every 8 days. And that's not gonna work for me. You guys know I love food too much. Andrea's got, like at this point, 10 days until she's done with prep. And we always have date night coordinated together. My cheat meal is gonna be rotating basically every 9 days. So we broke it down, and also it came down to overall fatigue. So we adjust the split. I'm gonna have a pull day right after a rest day that's gonna have some rear delts and some biceps in it. Then I'm gonna have a push day. It's gonna have delts, laterals, triceps in it, legs, that's just quads. Then I have a rest day. And then now today we're gonna hit posterior chain, which is gonna be rear delts, back and hamstrings, and then tomorrow I have a delt and arm day. Then it's a rest day. So that breaks it up so that I'm checking in at least once a week with Ariel, and then I have a cheat meal once a week with Andrea, which will turn into twice a week, and I'll show you guys how I structure that. Volume's still very low. We're 4 weeks in, coming up on week 5, and the primary thing here is, again, I'm still driving loads up in straight sets, so there's no intensifiers, but I'll run you guys through the exercise selection, the reason that I'm doing this, and how I'm programming everything to make sure that we can still progress. All right, let's do it.
The outfit today, outfit.
Oh yeah, so, yeah, can already see, Juice World. Got some Eric Emanuel New York City shorts. Then I had the Jordan 2 Off-White lows, had to play homage to Virgil. He just passed this year. And then Oakland A's, a little different instead of the typical green and yellow that everyone wears. And then some beat covers. I think my code is Foodie10, I don't know. Go check them out. Just go check it out. I should probably work on not talking with my hands, but you know, we'll just do like the intro to, what's it, the Talladega Nights, where he's like, I don't know what to do with my hands. And then he pulls them down, he's like, so yeah, we're gonna go out here now. So I think I touched on this before, but I always start with a stretch movement just to really lengthen out the lats before I move into anything. I'm a big believer in it's gonna activate them, but also it's like, you wanna be wider from the front, gotta do those movements. So each back day starts with either a pull down motion in the contraction portion. So I'll do the cable pull down you guys have seen, or here, this is overloading the stretch portion. So really just ripping those lats apart before I move into anything. But today's posterior chain, so my next movement will actually be a hamstring curl. And then we got some double pause stiff leg deads, which you guys will love. But I was just telling Aaron, I got my blood taken yesterday. I did a blood dump. So if you guys don't know, if you are using PEDs, more than likely your hematocrit, your hemoglobin, and your RBC, red blood cell count, is usually elevated. And that comes from extended use of testosterone and other PEDs. So you need to be donating blood. But anyways, I went and donated blood, and they stuck me with a harpoon, and the lady couldn't get it. And I told her, I was like, you're not gonna stick me again with that thing. Like, you get one chance. And I had an appointment for 1:15. I didn't leave till 3:30. The lady kept messing with the needle, trying to figure out, and I finally got a blood dump done, but hopefully it was enough. We'll see. I don't know. I got blood work, like I said, on Friday, and hopefully they're still at least come down a little bit. But just so you guys do know, you do need to have those elevated to actually grow. So pay attention to that. IP6 is great, but the problem is you don't know how much you're lowering it. So pay attention to that.
Yeah. 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 If I can't do it, homie, it can't be done. Now I'ma let the champagne bottle pop. I'ma take it to the top. Show, I'ma make it hot, baby. I apply pressure to pussy, the stunt and I pop. Stand above, squeezing my pistol, I'm sure that I got it. I Peter Piper, big peppers, and run rock rhymes. I'm 50 Cent, I write a little bit, but I pop nines. Tell niggas get their money right, cause I got mine. When I'm around, quit playing, nigga, you can't shine. You gon' be that next chump, then end up in the trunk after being hit by the pump. Is that what you want? Be easy, nigga. I lay your ass out. Believe me, nigga. That's what I'm about. Gangsta. You can find a nigga sitting on throne. Hit the clutch, hit the gear, hit the gas, and I'm gone. If I can't do it, homie, it can't be done. Now I'ma let the champagne bottle pop. I'ma take it to the top. Show, I'ma make it hot, baby. I'm down for the action. He's smart with his mouth to smack him. You holding your strap, you might come back, so clap him. React like a gangster, die like a gangster for acting. Cause you get hit in homicide to be asking what happened. Oh no, look who crept in with the foe. 20-inch rim sitting on low, bro. East side west.
Two reps better than last week. Still had the 3 partials, so that's an improvement. But let's talk on warm-ups. Everyone asks how many warm-ups you should do. So I put this in all my clients' plans. The definition or the benefit of warming up is you want to get the intended muscle warm with as little physical exertion as possible. So you'll notice as I peaked up in weight there, I went from doing like 10 reps the first one to 5 reps to 3, and then my last warm-up was literally 1 rep. And that's just to get my CNS and the muscle warm, but I don't want to do 10 reps all the way up because then I'm just wasting energy expenditure that could be put towards the actual working set. So now, the more sets you have to do, or the higher the load, so for instance, like a hack squat, if I'm doing 8 plates, I'm probably gonna take from 2 plates all the way to 8 plates per side, 1 plate in jumps. And those are big jumps. You have to think that's 90 pounds each plate that you add on per side. And the reps will just continue to taper down as I get up. So it may be 10, 10, 8, 5, 6, or 6, 5, 4, 2. And that's just to get my body acclimated to that load. So it's comfortable, but then I still have tons of energy to just be put towards that top set. Whereas you're doing 10 reps all the way up, you're just wasting a ton of energy. So, yeah. Whew.
Even my mama saying something really wrong with my brain. Niggas don't rob me, they know I'm down and die for my chain. G-Unit, we get it poppin' in the hood. G-Unit, motherfucker was good. I'm waiting on niggas to act like they don't know how to act. After sipping too much Jack, I blow them off the map with the Mac. Thinking it's all rap, till that ass get clapped and Doc says it's a rap. It's a rap, nigga. If I can't do it, homie, it can't be done. Now I'ma let the champagne bottle pop. I'ma take it to the top. Show, I'ma make it hot, baby. I invented how to teach lessons to slow learners. Go ahead, act up, get smacked in the head with the burner. I don't fight fair. I'm dirty, dirty. I'm from Southside Jamaica, Queens, nigga, you heard me? When the street lights come on, niggas blasting nines. Get locked up to read books to pass the time. And the game is ups and downs, so I stay on the grind. Niggas on my dick more than my bitch, I stay on their mind.
In this part, you can just fast forward through and I'll explain at the end. So one thing I've started implementing, not necessarily an intensifier, but is, if you guys know Dante Trudell, I take a lot of his principles, and he's a big believer in, I think it's like overstretching essentially, but at the end of a working set, you take and you stretch that intended muscle out, and he has a whole chart for like all the muscles. So with my lats here, I was trying to spend an actual minute in the stretch position there. I think I got 45 seconds, but 45 seconds feels like 10 years. But give that a try. Check him out, Dante Trudell. He was known, really popular in like the early 2000s for just putting like tons of tissue on people. Really smart guy, probably doesn't get as much credit in the industry, but the old heads know who he is. Oh, fuck. All right, so little activation I've been doing here for hamstrings lately is I'll put it on the first warm-up set here, and I'll take and come down and contract, and then just do 10 lifts. And so what I'm doing is actually contracting this leg here, and this is lengthening and shortening the hamstring.
Not a speck of dust on it. I'ma get the bag, put some trust on it. Everything is new, so it's never rushed.
So I don't have an actual name for these, but if you wanted to call them something, you call them like hamstring walks or something. And that will activate the shit out of your hamstrings. My goal this episode is to not curse as much. We'll see how that goes. I'll just have Aaron bleep it out. We'll do like the old Jerry Springer episodes. All right. Back. Oh. Right there. Drop bow. So, because today's posterior chain, you guys are probably wondering why I went from a lat movement to a hamstring. But as I mentioned, we are going to be doing a deadlift variation. So it's going to work the whole backside. So basically I want to have everything warm before I get there. Because I'm trying to really move some loads there. Not to say that I'm not here, we're always, progressing the logbook, but the seated hamstring is the only movement where you can actually fully contract the hamstring and basically try and touch your heel to your ass. Whereas in a lying hamstring curl, if you're touching the pad to your butt, more than likely you're forcing the knee to come back. Because right here, this is where my leg shifted back. This is as far as my hamstring wants to go. So if I'm coming and I'm going like this, that's actually going past the range of motion. That's passive range of motion. The active range of motion is right here. All right, so take that into consideration. Whereas if I have my knee in front here, you can see I can go all the way back here. And you can probably even see my hamstring contracting. Whereas right here, same thing. So this is actually a John Meadows warm-up. Shift your leg back as far as it will go. and you can actually see, but that right there is the fully contracted hamstring. So this is something you can do, and Andrea will do before she goes on stage, as a warm-up to activate that hamstring. You guys probably actually saw her doing it in her glute video, but that's an old John Meadows trick. So we're gonna do 2 working sets here, and then we'll get over into some stiff legs.
Ain't nothing they can do to stop my shine. This is God's plan, homie. This ain't mine. I play the music loud, so grandpa called me a nuisance, and grandma always gotta throw her 2 cents. I'm the dropout that made more money than his teachers. Ruthless like the coupe, but I come with more features. I am what I am. You can like it or love it. It feels good to put 50 grand and think nothing of it. Fuck if I can't do it, homie, it can't be done. Now I'ma let the champagne bottle pop. I'ma take it to the top. Show, I'ma make it hot, baby, baby. If I can't do it, homie, it can't be done. Now I'ma let the champagne bottle pop. I'ma take it to the top. Show, I'ma make it hot, baby, baby.
Peeled. Look at her oblique, she's not even flexing.
I want those.
10 days. 10 days, God willing, a pro card and an overall. I told you guys in the first video I wanted to put a stiff leg deadlift in to work the whole posterior chain. But right now, with no super supplements in, still rebounding, food high or food low. It's not low like it was in prep, but it's still not where I need it to be to fully recover from a fully taxing deadlift session. So what I'm doing is double pause stiff leg deadlifts, which really puts emphasis in stretching the hamstrings. So here I'm literally just pushing the hips back to rip that hamstring. And then of course it makes the exercise harder. So I don't need as much load to fully tax my CNS, so I can hit back again in 4 days. So that's the main reason here, is the reason I'm doing the double pause. I'm gonna run progress up in that. And when progress stalls out, then I'll take out the pauses and just skyrocket the load. I was watching Justin Shire. He was doing snatch grip. So I may even try that today, just to make it even harder on myself, because I love torturing myself. So the snatch grip will just put me in an even more bent over position, and we'll see how that feels.
I'ma make it hot. Dr. Dre, Aftermath, Shady.
You headed home? Love you. Hey. Oh, come on. You got more. You got more. Come on. early last year after getting my tattoo done, and you can see. So it's either wait 4 weeks or pay thousands of dollars for that mistake. I think I'll wait. I'm full of lung myself. So you can see my actually back gives out before the hamstring's there. So that tells me my back is weaker than my hamstrings. So next week I'm gonna make this so it's more back dominant and we'll get more out of this exercise. All right, so the reason that I'm using this pull down versus doing the single arm that you guys saw me doing before is because it's bilateral instead of unilateral. I can obviously drive a little bit more load. And then two, the other thing I hate about pull down movements, I kind of expressed this before, is when you're here and you're pulling down, the natural motion of the lat is this way. So you can see my lat contracting right there. If you're out here, it's very hard to kind of tuck that arm and squeeze. So right here, in the neutral position, I can just take and drive down and contract that lat. So if you don't have this machine, it's gonna be harder. You just gotta find like a neutral hand setup that's about shoulder width apart. Because again, the natural motion of the lat is here. Okay, it's not out here. You're not contracting your lat by doing this. So that's the biggest problem I have with pull downs when people are like this. You're not contracting. It's very hard because you got to drive those elbows in and come down like this. And most people don't think of that. So this is great. And then it has the 3 prongs there so I can overload at the top and the bottom of the motion. So you'll see here. What's up, brother? So, usually I do a T-bar, and I want to try this out though. It's a seal row. So you'll lay down on this, and it'll actually stop any type of momentum. So it should be pretty fucking hard. And the one area that Ariel wants me to focus on, because he said my lats are growing just naturally, which is crazy because it's taken me 10 years to figure out how to actually connect with my lat, is my upper back thickness. So having me in a brace position where I physically cannot get any leg drive should fix that right there pretty quick. This is also beneficial because my lower back is so freaking taxed right now from those stiff legs. I'm finally at that point in my progression, not off season, progression season, where getting lower back pumps. And the belt's actually being more negatively not beneficial than it is beneficial right now, just because it's pumping that lower back so much. So I'm gonna take it off. But I'm a big believer in the belt primarily because of the fact that it's not gonna make your waist smaller, but it's very much like the waist trainer and just making sure you're keeping your abdomen tight the entire time. Kind of.
Expensive.
All right, last set here. So as I've talked about in previous stuff, this is just more metabolic pump work. The muscle's already fatigued, so I'm just trying to slam more nutrients in there. Will aid in recovery, but also it's gonna help with that pump. I'm not a believer that just because you have a pump or you're sore means that you're creating a new stimulus. The best way to think of it, or you're not creating muscle because of that. The best way to think of this is, and I always tell my clients, I could go run a marathon tomorrow and I'll be sore as shit. That doesn't mean I create a muscle. I guarantee you, just because my legs are sore from running, I am not growing muscle. So think of that, and when you're programming yourself and changing shit every week, just because you're sore, that means it's a new stimulus. It's a novel stimulus. So if you're changing exercises every week, yeah, you're getting sore because it's something your body's not used to. Again, I could go skiing tomorrow, my body's not used to that, and my legs are gonna be sore. Okay, so think of that every time you wanna change shit every single week. Change stuff. I don't curse. I'm a good Christian. You wanna grab a